Hey there, my name is Przemek and this is the review of Kloob and Onasander collaborative album called Tempestarii. This is another Winterlight release I'm mumbling about, and also another collaboration review on my YouTube channel. On one hand, it is a coincidence, but also it shows that dark ambient experimental artists simply like to share their creativities and try to reach the synergetic effect during that creative process. To be honest, I always thought that Kloob comes from Holland. I don't know why, but in fact, it's a Spanish project. And apart from two relaxed machinery albums, he has chosen a Winterlight label as, let's call it, a safe space during his musical adventures. I don't know his early works, but it seems that he was more into lighter forms of ambient, and with each consecutive Winterlight album, his music is getting darker and darker. Onasander is Italian one-man project by Maurizio Landini, and while Onasander itself doesn't have any deeper history, the project was launched in I think 2017. Maurizio himself is quite an experienced musician involved in many projects. Apart from I Burn, I haven't heard of any of them before. Some of them were launched in the 90s, and you may find them in the catalogs of such labels like Slaughter Productions or Hans Productions. This is their second collaboration. The first one was called Mundus Patet, and it was out in 2020. 2 years after that, we got Tempestarii, the album with a specific concept about, well, Tempestarii, who, according to Wikipedia, in the medieval times were weather-making magicians who dwelt among the common people and possessed the power to raise or prevent storms. For these reasons, anyone reputed as a weather maker was the subject of respect, fear, and hatred in rural areas. Catholic Church considered these practices and beliefs as of a pagan origin and witchcraft, and prosecuted the sorcerers for causing storms. I read that. I'm guilty as charged. Quite an interesting story. I never heard of that before, to be honest. I wonder if there's some in-depth publications on this subject. I would be curious to read something more about it. As for the music, well, it is dark ambient in its purest and most essential form, so you shouldn't expect any musician translation of the historical or cultural aspect of that Tempestarii phenomenon. In fact, the only so-called human factor on this album appears in the last track, Lend Us Your Strength, where you hear some distant incantations, possibly of those magicians trying to summon the storm. Apart from that, we have something I like to call a weather ambient. Sounds damp, yeah, maybe. But this is the music built of whirling winds, distant rumbles reminding of some storm thunders. After the first pretty atmospheric track, which is called the Grandine et Tonitrice, okay, I'm not fluent in Latin, but after that track I thought it will be the album corresponding to some point with one of my favorites of the last decade, which was Midnight Sun by Parhelion. Well, technically it's not the last decade, as it was the album released in December 2010, but let's not be so meticulous. In the end, it didn't happen. It's not that unique as Parhelion album, and also there's not that much melodic or atmospheric fragments. In fact, you need to listen to Tempestarii very carefully to not notice any of these. Of course, that doesn't mean it's a bad album, none of these things. It's filled with hums, drones, and dense sound textures. Dark as hell, obviously, but it isn't the darkness that raises fear or anxiety, but it's more like a sound illustration of strange and inexplicable weather occurrences. Something that makes you wonder if everything is okay in the environment that surrounds you. Uh, Nothing new, nothing surprising, but hey, I am a dark ambient fan, and when I hear a well-crafted drones, a skillfully built atmosphere, and when the music is able to lower the temperature in my room during this terrible heat, then I'm content. Tempestarii is not making me happy as a skylark, but at the end of the day, yeah, I'm content. No more, no less. This is a really nice, good album, especially for a dark ambient fan. And if you are one of those, one of us, you should be interested in Tempestarii. Thanks for watching and see you soon.